Going to have a bit of a history lesson here. And, a few weeks ago, I have to say I was very surprised when I heard about this. Actually, it's probably a month ago now. But I never knew this, and I don't think many people did know this, because I said to a few people. And did you know this? Because I didn't know it, and I might tell you straight. And I wouldn't mind, but I don't. How would I put it? I apologise to Michael Collins in first year when I was in school. And I didn't see. I must have didn't see it at the time, or maybe it wasn't even. They didn't find it out at the time. Maybe they only found it out recently. But it was on just to say, if you do want to watch, there's a bit on Nationwide on OT. So if you want to check that out, it's from the 20th today, the 20th of April, 2021. You can watch it on the OT player. I do recommend what I watched a bit of it this evening. At least first time ever OT cares about its Irish history. But again, they did do a good job. I give them when fairness is given to them. They did do a good job, and I actually have a steel plate here of what I'm talking about. So this photo here, you're probably like, what's significant about this? So obviously you can see General Collins there. You can see a boy in the background. You probably wonder why is this significant? A picture like this. Well, this boy went away from Liverpool. So the story goes, he went away from Liverpool. He was an orphan. So the army took him in. The Free State Army at the time took him in. Took him in, took care of him, fed him, you clothed him, give him a roof over his head. And obviously he was, basically first aid to Michael Collins for a while. He was the youngest, obviously nearly the youngest member of the army. So the army took care of him, and fed him and gave him everything he needed. So after General Michael Collins died, he actually left money for the boy to be educated in the school, and I didn't know this. And I didn't know how significant it was, because it was General Michael Collins that said, to him, to the boy, I can't remember his name, I said in the OT's documentary, but he went away from Liverpool, he went away and the army took him in here. And General Michael Collins left money for him with the army to make sure he get an education. And obviously the army took care of him and got him a job and everything for him. As opposed to somebody worked in the post office and he worked there all his life. The army took care of him, took great care of him. But obviously Michael Collins said to take care of him and everything. But I never knew that. I never knew. And Michael Collins was very generous to leave him money for education. And obviously, huge credit to Michael Collins. Then it should be talked about more of this. Because I didn't know about it, and I don't think OT should talk about it a lot more. It'd be more beneficial for them to talk about it than COVID and things like that. Something that's very sort of the out, sort of the out thing. To talk about something that's very humbling to see as as any person would see, to leave money and to think about others. It's something very humbling, it's something very noble, and something very honourable, as Michael Collins was all them things. And I'm sure everybody would agree on that. But it's a very significant photo. Obviously this is taken in Carlborough Barracks in Dublin. I had the pleasure of visiting Carlborough Barracks in Dublin in 2017. I visited Carlborough Barracks in Dublin. It's the main army barracks in Dublin. Not too far away from the Phoenix Park, around that area. So if you ever do get the chance, it's a good museum there. I went around, I seen the flag. Michael Collins was in state. Had it over his chest when he was in state. I seen his face mask, which was shown in the OT documentary. But I did see, and it was very, the time it did, but again, it didn't mention, again, when we were on tour, and this is something too, it didn't mention about this. So it was probably just recently, because again, I only heard about it recently, and usually I would hear about all this thing. But again, it's, it's such an amazing thing to find out, and it's such a thing too, that the Irish Army took care of him, and obviously got him a job and everything, and took care of him, and he ended up having a very happy life, the young boy. Living to a very old age. I think he lived to 85, 86 for a long, long time. He died in 1994, I think it was 1995, something like that. But lived for a long, long time. And obviously, the only reason why, and I might say straight, he lived for a long, long time, was the Free State Army, the Irish Army, took care of him, and obviously fed him and took him in off the streets and gave him a bed, and gave him a meal and everything. So, and then obviously got him a job, and obviously, paid for his education. Michael Collins left money for him to be educated. And obviously the army got him a job in the post office. I think it was in Wet Mines. But yeah, just goes to show that goodness can come out of a person's death. And Michael Collins took care of this good brave young boy. And it's good to see that it's up, and again it was Ireland's saddest day. Michael Collins' death, because he would have had great plans for this country. And being so young too, being so young, being killed. When he was killed, being only, was it 31, 32, in his prime of his life, really, being killed. It's a shame. It is really, really a shame that the Irish Civil War happened. Such, again, it's still to this day we fear the, I suppose, how would you put it, the board, and we fear the effects of it, because it does still divide to this day families. It still divides people. It does still divide people on it. Because it was brother gets brother and sister gets sister. People, the old people that fought for with each other a few months before, fought against each other. And that's something that a country can never get over. A civil war. Whatever about a war, you're fighting your own people. You'll get one man versus one other man of a nation. Again, it's something that it's still felt and it's still recognised in this country today, and it was a very, very bloody war. The Civil War, obviously we lost many people who were great heroes to this country. Like Michael Collins, we lost extreme good people in this country. But yeah, that's a story that you probably didn't know about. Again, I didn't know about it, and I did research, probably, as I was saying, in first year, and I never knew about it. But again, it's good to know, and it is really happening. It's good to know that there's a good story, at least in this boy's, and I can't think of his name. But at least it's good to know that he was able to be educated because of Michael Collins, and he got a job, obviously, with the Irish Army at the time, to get a job and obviously live a happy life. And he went to America, and then he came back to Ireland for his later life when he retired as a post clerk, I think. So, again, it's good to see that he did live a happy life and he lived a long life. And it's all because of Michael Collins, and it's all because of the Irish Free State Army too, and the Irish Army at the time too. So yeah, it's good to know. It's good to know that that goodness can come out of badness, I suppose, and it's good to know that bad situations you can help others too. And again, I just have to say fair credit to Michael Collins. Really is a credit for what he's done for Ireland. We might not appreciate it now. Many people on the left and everything, they wouldn't appreciate it. But we have to appreciate what he gave, and give his life for this country. We'd appreciate what he did, even if you can't appreciate that, at least appreciate what he did for this young lad, and again, you should appreciate what he did for us. But again, even just appreciate what he did for this young lad and help this young lad, even the Irish Army appreciate what they did to help him, to help this young lad. But anyway, that's all I was saying. But I just thought I'd give you a bit of history, because it's good to just kind of re-look in our history and just talk about it, and something that you didn't know about. A bit of a history lesson, because they don't teach it in the schools. I would have loved if a teacher came in when I studied history in third year for the Leaving Cert. No, for the junior cert, sorry, I'm doing Leaving Cert this year. I would love the teacher came in and just sat down for an hour and talked about this, and talked about this photo, who took the photo, explain detail by detail. And we did, just when I'm here and talk for a second, we did study the War of Independence. We did touch on the 1960s, but it wasn't that present, I might be honest with you. It was more about the Great Famine, the Great Starvation, the Great Genocide, as I often describe it. We talked about the American Civil War, the American Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, World War One, World War Two, how it affected Ireland, World War One. Similar to World War Two, we touched on the emergency. But we didn't really touch too much on the War of Independence. We touched a bit, as I said, in the Irish. We touched a bit in the Irish War for Independence. We didn't touch anything on the Irish Civil War. But yeah, 2 weeks. Actually, I'm just taking here. 2 weeks after this photo was taken, Michael Collins was killed in Ballinabbar in County Cork. So one nearly the last photos, I would say, nearly after Michael Collins. At the time that was taken of Michael Collins. So yeah, thank you for watching. Be safe out there, and bye.